I'm using anchovies on circle hooks. Now, he just came up and latched onto it. To be honest, he's kind of fighting like a catfish. So,
some fish are legendary, some are sacred, and some will test everything you've got. Across North America, indigenous tribes have fished these waters for centuries, carving traditions, ceremonies, and survival from every catch. Now, we travel deep into their ancestral homelands to uncover stories behind the fish that shape their cultures, and catch some absolute giants along the way. From the raging rivers of the Pacific Northwest to the untouched lakes of the Great Plains, we're hooking into monsters that fed generations and diving headfirst into the traditions that keep them alive today. I'm Robert Jacobo, and this is IndigeFish Tribal Tales. Are you ready to chase something big?
what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of IndigeFish. I'm your host, Robert Jacobo, and I got my trusty assistant, Bobo, over there in the water. And today, we are on the beautiful Colorado River here in Mojave Valley, Arizona, on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation. I am so stoked to be here. If anything, there's just like this ancestral, like, life force, right? Just this kind of like energy that surrounds this place, and hopefully what we can transcend that into is actually into some more fish. Maybe they're feeling the energy too. The water's like glass, you know, wherever Bobo isn't necessarily. So the cool thing is Bo's gonna be coming along. Check it out. Check out what we got. All right, so we're riding in on the Malibu Kayak Pro Tandem 2, right? We got all of our stuff, all of our gear, right? And everything is here with me for the most part. The only thing that I don't have on this boat, I don't have a fish finder, which is actually not too bad, because then it allows us to go ahead and search for things. But we got all of our tackle stored away. We have extra camera equipment, extra tackle there in that camera bag. We have our 4 poles that we're gonna be using. Let me show you what I got going on. Here on the Lindsay, we got a smaller drop shot, right? Very, very small weight, just to kind of keep that stuff subsurface. And then what we're gonna start off with is some minnows on that 8'6" rod. Then over here on the Shimano 2500, right? And the Shakespeare pole, we have ourselves a nice Carolina rig. We're gonna use that with possibly a wacky worm setup. Okay, that's where we go ahead and take the Yamamoto worm, and we're gonna just hook it right in the middle, so that way it has that bending motion. Then when we start to see a couple of things of deeper pockets of water, what I also have here is a nice swim bait. Now this is definitely a big size here for this river, so we're gonna see if that even actually catches anything. That's on the Shimano, and the Sienna, I believe that's a Sienna 3000. Let me double check. Nope, Sienna 2500 HG. Okay, then we have the ugly stick over here. With our ugly stick reel, we have our Kaivo jig. Now that's typically used in ocean fishing. However, I wanted to see if the striper were gonna be able to do anything with that. So it's about almost 8 o'clock, right? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna get pushed out. We have the car locked up, we're ready to go. So if anything, wish us some luck, guys. We gotta get out there and we gotta catch some fish today. So anyways, we got myself, Robert, we got Bobo, we got our boat, and we are ready to go, guys. So here we go, stay tuned. So what we're doing is we're actually paddling upriver, right? We use the side walls and the jetties and stuff like that to actually give us like a little bit of a, like a conveyor belt, right? So if anything, what that does is that pulls us along upriver. I'm not saying that it makes it extremely easy, because by far it doesn't. But at the same time, it is very resourceful to use those eddy currents to our advantage and our favor. So anyways, this is kind of what we do. Come up here, we paddle upriver, and then we float down and fish. Now in some sections, if the water was a little bit deeper, we would go ahead and troll to see what we can go ahead and pick up, especially if we could use things like our swim baits, and then also too like our Rapala, the jerk bait. I like to troll that sometimes. That tends to catch stripers in the morning. But for right now, we're gonna just let it be what it is, because I'm going through some pretty shallow sections. Now it's a love-hate relationship, because to be honest, you're like, I want to troll, I want to get a fish like right away, right? Like, but if you're trolling and you're having to go through deeper sections, then what ends up happening is then you're fighting the current, right? And you're fighting the undercurrent too. Like, whereas if I go ahead and stay in the shallows, that's a lot less water for me to fight, and I can just glide along the top with the kayak. Or like if I find an area where there's a lot of plant life, right? Then what I can do is I can utilize that plant life to my advantage too. Because then what happens is that my, what ends up happening is my boat then, or the plants will actually end up breaking up a lot of that current. And so if they're breaking up a lot of the current, if the plants are breaking up a lot of the current, then that's a lot less work for me. So anyways, let's see what we can do here. There we go, that's a little bit better. Let's see if that holds in place for a little while. Sorry guys, I know it's a little shaky, but we're just building as we go along. So there's not always gonna be, you know, crazy amounts of gear and stuff. We have this like janky, broken golf club, and we just have it stuffed in a hole in our kayak, so that way we can use our tripod to grip onto it. So we're MacGyvering some situations here, but that's cool because that's really the essence of a fisherman, right? Like, we MacGyver the crap out of stuff all the time. Like, you don't have a solution for that? That's okay. I got you. We're gonna just build it out of random scrap. Just to say, guys, fishermen might be the guys that you want to be around. The fishermen, the hunters, in case of the zombie apocalypse. I think we'll be all right. So we're past our very first beach, going upriver from the car. Set that pole down. I keep on hitting it with my paddle. It's just not very conducive to what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get these long strokes in. So at the cost of not trolling, we are gliding upriver. All right, that's actually not a bad sight. It's kind of a cool view. All right, guys, staying close to the wall. There he goes. And honestly, we just kind of leave him in the dust. We let him do his thing. He's gonna be super happy and super stoked. So it is what it is. Anyways. Oh. All right, guys, stay tuned. All right, guys, so we're a little ways into our paddling, and wanted to kind of show you guys something. So we stay relatively close to the edge, right? And I don't know if you guys can see, you can see bottom, for me anyways, right? And then you have deeper side over here, probably about 10 feet max right now. But this is the thing, we stay close to the edge because it gives us an advantage. One, an advantage to actually be in the slower water, right? Not so much drag on the undertow or anything like that. And then two, it allows us to see over that edge, right, where it starts to go down. And it's where the fish like to hang out, because the predatory species, like the striped bass and stuff, they're gonna push those bait fish, right? Those minnows, those bluegills, things like that. They're gonna push those things into the shallower sections, right? And kind of corral them to where they can go ahead and feed. So we wanna stay close to the edge to see what kind of action is going on in any particular place. Because the predatory species isn't gonna drive the fish out into the open, right? Where it can run freely. It's gonna push it to where it can kind of corral it up and make sure that it can go ahead and take a bite out of it. So anyways, guys, quickly though, the river can change on you, right? So it can literally drag you out. We were just right over there, right? But now we're sitting in the middle of the river where we're getting tons of undertow that's going ahead and dragging us back down. So we're losing some valuable distance. So let's go ahead and get back on it. But I just wanted to explain to you guys why we're paddling so close to the edge and the benefits to that. So anyways, stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so we're still on our paddling journey, right? We're definitely up a number of beaches. It's not always about just coming out here and fishing, right? It's about coming out here and sharing this wonderful landscape with a best friend, right? With a buddy, a companion, a spouse, you know, like it's about coming out here and enjoying ourselves and then being able to pass those experiences on to the next generation, right? Having those stories to tell. And that's what's so magical about these waterways is there's so many stories to tell. So off in the distance, there's a national monument called Avikwame. And so that's the actual origin story for the people of Hamakav, the Mojave people here in Mojave Valley, Arizona, Needles, California, and Laughlin, Nevada, right? The origin story is out that way. But this river is like a lifeline, like a big, massive artery, just containing the life force, that which is water, and holds all the memories. Think about that. It holds so many memories of the people from generation beyond generation beyond generation that came before us. So with something that's powerful, it's really cool to just kind of be on it and be in it and enjoy it. And especially if you have the opportunity to enjoy it with the people that you love. So anyways, guys, let's get back to it. Let's get back to paddling. Now, as you can see, I'm in a relatively shallow area, right next to the rocks. And that's because the current is giving me a break here, right, to where I can easily go upriver without necessarily having to strain too much. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sweating like a pig, but a majority of that is because it's hot. It's a little humid outside because we're starting to get into the fall months. And, but everything seems to be going pretty well. We're staying in the shade as much as possible. Bobo's having a time of his life, and he'll get tired out by the time it's time to start fishing, and we'll be good to go from there. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but off in the distance, there's a pair of pumps that are coming up, irrigation pumps for the farmlands. And so what we usually like to do is we usually like to make it to that point, right? And then determine whether or not we want to go up from there. There are a few other spots that are up from there. It's just that it takes additional effort going upriver. So we'll make the judgment call once we get there of how we're feeling. But yeah, let's see about making it to those pumps, guys. So, and then we'll determine whether we want to start fishing from there. All right, so stay tuned. All right, guys, so just wanted to give you a different view, but yes, these are the industrial pumps pumping water up to that irrigable farmland. And so we're gonna go ahead and press forward from here. I feel pretty good so far. Definitely sweaty, right? Getting myself a good workout, but at the same time, that's what we're out here for. Enjoy our surroundings, enjoy our environment, get to know the environment by working through it, right? Being grateful also too for all of this stuff. And anyways, guys, let's get back to it before we lose too much ground going backwards. All right, so stay tuned. All right, definitely a better angle this way, but I'm gonna kind of have me in an awkward position. So anyways, now we're kind of like in the middle of the Colorado River, right? It's probably about maybe 5 to 6 feet right here in this particular section. So, and we have Bo here. Actually, if we look down, actually a nice sized carp right there. Right? So, we're gonna be fishing this area. I'm gonna do a little dropper loop with a couple of minnows on there, see if that sparks any attention. I got a white minnow, I got a gray and black minnow as well. And then if anything too, I wanna see about using my casting jig, kind of see what that does. I mean, I'm not necessarily expecting it to do anything. I'm just more so like, hey, I wanna bring some of my other gear out here and see what works and see what doesn't. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But ultimately, I'm here to have some fun. So now that we've paddled upriver, we've gone like about a mile, a little over a mile. Let's go ahead and start unloading. Let's see now. The real challenge is, can we catch a fish before Bo just scares them all away, right? So let's see if we can't get on and catch some fish here. All right, so we've decided to stop for a second because there's tons of grass here. There's like little pockets and stuff like that. And I've been seeing some bass kind of along the way. And so we want to see about attacking these areas. But the reason why I stopped is because I'm going to grab one of these rocks and I have a rope already on the boat. So I'm going to use that as an anchor. And so that way we can kind of stay in place. Because although the river in this specific area isn't moving too tough right now, I still want to make sure that I'm giving myself the best opportunity to kind of stay in place as much as I can, especially when I'm working like those drop shots and stuff. I want to make sure that I'm not like necessarily getting out of the zone too quickly or anything like that, because I want to be able to work them as much as possible. So anyways, guys, I'm going to get back to it. I got to find myself a rock and we got to get ourselves back out there and set up an anchor point. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So we're finding ourselves like in some eddy currents, right? So they bring us back to shore and they kind of kick us in this area. Then we'll kind of drift up and then we'll come back out into the current and then come back. It's like this nice little whirlpool, right? We move down the river little by little, but it's nice because it kind of keeps us relatively in place without having to use that rock anchor. And so I'm super stoked because it's keeping us right in this little fishing hole. And also too, if we're doing this on the surface, down below, there's probably some like food or minerals or enrichment or anything like that, that the fish are getting to experience as well. So we want to see if we could put our bait and stuff right in the middle of this and see if there's going to be some action. So far, I haven't really seen anything. Even on the paddle up, it seemed like anytime I dropped like my jig in front of somebody or like a rooster tail or you know, my dropper loop or anything like that, it just seemed like they kind of like relatively ran away, right? So it wasn't anything to where they were like super attracted to it or anything like that. It just seemed like it was kind of like they were spooked, and then they went from there. So I don't know how lucky we're gonna get as far as fish action today on the river, but we're gonna try our best. So stay tuned, guys, because we're gonna keep at it. All right, guys, so we made it to the other side of the river. Didn't even really have to, you know, like do anything. We literally just kind of like went into the middle of the river and then we ended up on the side of the shore. Just kind of like relaxed, got the battery switched out with the camera and stuff like that. So yeah, and then little did you know, we actually came all the way to the other side. So it was really nice too, because like even in the middle of the river, there was like a very, very shallow area where we were actually touching bottom in the middle of the river. So it was kind of cool. Anyways, we're gonna get back to it. We're floating down, we're gonna get to some structure and stuff like that. We're also gonna kind of possibly just park the kayak and fish from shore a little bit, see if we see anything, see if anything grabs on, and then go from there. Oh, looks like we just bottomed out. Check this out. All right, guys, getting a little windier out here, but you know what? We're still fishing. We're still out here. Bo's enjoying time on the water, you know, and I just want to say, if anything, what's really cool about this is even though we haven't caught any fish yet, you know, we're catching views, we're catching cinematic landscapes, we're filming, we're having fun with bow swimming and stuff like that. So, you know, I'd love to encourage you guys, even if you don't get into the fishing aspect as much, you know, get into the outdoors aspect, get into the, you know, taking yourself a video camera every now and then, not necessarily even just to put online or anything like that, but just videotape your life, like make your life into the movie that you want it to be. You know, try it day by day. And, you know, if the movie is something that you want to continuously keep watching, then you know you're on the right track. But if it's something that it's mundane and you're like, oh man, I would never repeat that if I didn't have to again, then, you know, start to change the movie up. This is amazing. We're actually, you know, out here on the Colorado River. You know, there's parts of it that are moving very swiftly. There's parts of it to where, you know, we don't really move at all. You know, exploring these eddy currents are really cool. Exploring to see what fish are kind of around. We've seen striper, we've seen carp, we've seen smallmouth bass. You know, just nothing happens to be biting right this second. No excuses for it. Fishing is fishing, guys. You could be the most expert angler on the face of the planet and go out and have a skunk day, right? But at the same time, there's so many other things that you could be capturing. So if anything, like, get out there and videotape yourself and start to narrate your life a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna see if we can't get any more footage, because the ground that I'm seeing underneath the water right now is amazing. Underwater structure like the log that we just passed, so cool. You know, and you're creating this movie of your life. So anyways, guys, let's get back to it. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we've come up to a spot right now, and the cool thing is we don't always have to be in the kayak, right? So what we did was we just anchored our little kayak right over there. And now, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a great drop-off point right here. You know what? Let me just get you guys underneath so you can see it for yourselves. So what there appears to be is like a small shelf there, right? And so with that drop-off, maybe there's some predatory fish that are looking and waiting and just hoping that something comes down that shelf. And it's a nice clear spot, so why not see what we can work. Now, I will tell you this, it is hell without your polarized glasses, so make sure that if you are going fishing, you don't forget your polarized glasses in the truck. Hey there, Bobo. How are you doing, buddy? It would be a miracle if we even get any fish. To be honest, just being out here with Bo is quite fun. But we may just come back later on tonight because I refuse to skunk out. So I'm not leaving. Oh, I think I see a fish. All right, guys, so far, nothing. Like I said, we've seen fish earlier in the morning, and for the most part, it's just kind of like dead right now. But you know what? It's okay. It's nothing that's like out of the ordinary or anything like that too. We got to keep in mind that there's so many different variables. A lot of people on here could possibly be like, oh my God, your dog was just jumping all over the fishing holes. But I mean, it could be anything, right? It could be the fact that I was fishing where the fish aren't. It could be the fact that maybe I was using the wrong lure, the wrong plastics, the wrong fish scent, anything like that. Maybe I was making too much noise with my kayak. Maybe I needed to be off of my kayak even more, right? But you know, there's a wide list of variables. The greatest thing is that you got to remember that anytime that you're out here fishing, you are catching something. And what you're catching is you're actually catching the good vibes, the good energy. And on top of that too, the opportunity to be outdoors, to be surrounded by Mother Nature and be surrounded by things that are completely out of your control, but yet are so beautiful in the end, right? So anyways, guys, I'm gonna get back to it. We're gonna go ahead and start heading back to the car, and kind of call it a day, get some lunch and stuff in town. And then on top of that, what we'll do is we'll come back out here for a part 2 tonight, so that way we can really not leave here with a skunk on our back, because tomorrow we're going to be heading to a different location and shooting out there. So we want to make sure that we do get something here tonight, whether it's going to be a smallmouth bass this afternoon, or we're going to be looking at more stripers and things like that, maybe even some catfish late in the evening. So anyways, guys, let's go ahead, get back to it. Let's get back to the Malibu kayak, and on top of that, get back to our journey down the river. So stay tuned, guys.
6 hours later.
All right, so we are on right now, and like I said, we're not skunking out today. Not on the home court, guys. You cannot skunk out on the home court. And this guy feels, Bo, leave him alone. All right. Well, if you can't catch the striped bass in the ocean, you can always come back and catch the striped bass right here in the river. Oh, there we go. Beautiful striped bass. These guys are definitely nocturnal. They also operate a lot in the morning too. You're gonna see them a lot of top waters they'll hit, a lot of trolling as well, right? So you know, usually when we're here in the mornings, first thing in the morning, we'll troll like a jerk bait behind, right? And these guys love to just ambush those things and go after them. They do have tiny teeth, so nothing to be concerned about. And their gill plates, they're pretty heavy duty for the most part. So we're gonna go ahead and let this guy go as our first catch of the night, but anything secondary, if we can get a pretty decent sized one, we're gonna go ahead and take it home, fillet it up, and cook it up for tonight. So anyways, guys, no skunk today. There we go. Let's get him back in the water. Oh, Bo, you gonna go for it? You gonna go for it? Ready? Go get him. All right, guys, we got ourselves another one. Probably another striper on there too. Man, this light is bright, I gotta tell you. Bo, get out of the way. Where are we at? We're still out there a little ways. I gotta remember, with this 8'6" pole, I chuck these baits pretty far. Bo! Leave it alone. What do we got here? We got ourselves another striper. Now, like I told you guys, we're going to take this guy home. So we gotta bonk him on the head because we're gonna eat him tonight. Oh, he might have just bonked himself on the head. Watch out. All right, another beautiful specimen here. We got ourselves a nice striper. He's probably about, I'd say about 1.5 feet, something around that size. But yeah, anyways, I'm looking at his body, seeing if there's anything we need to really pay attention to. But yeah, we got ourselves catch number 2. Right, these guys are definitely really nocturnal. I really like them when they put up a good fight, especially with this lighter end pole. Right, I have the 8'6" Lindsay pole, and you know, it's made mainly for trout. So when you get something like this on the line, it's definitely fun because they put up a really good fight. So anyways, we're gonna get this guy bonked out, so that way we kind of put him out of his misery before we go ahead and clean him out. So take care. Something tells me I have a monster on the other side of this line because it is pulling. And I mean, I know that this isn't necessarily the heaviest rod in the world, but that thing is going. And we're just gonna let him tire himself out. We're not gonna, I mean, to be honest, in this particular area, we've actually snorkeled in this particular area, Bobo and I. So I kind of have an idea of the things that are, you know, kind of roughly in the area. and there's not really that much that could really break us off or anything. Bo, come here. But he just came up and snagged it. Now I'm using anchovies. Bo, hey, hey, come here. I'm using anchovies on circle hooks. Now, he just came up and latched onto it. To be honest, he's kind of fighting like a catfish. So I wouldn't be surprised, and how heavy it is, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a catfish. Come here, Bo. Hey, come here. We want to keep it tight because the line that we're on, I'd have to say it's probably about 8 pound. Maybe 12. And then my leader line is actually a 20-pound line that I set up for a dropper loop. Bo, hey, hey, come here. Bo, what did I say? And he's right here in front of me, guys. Hey, leave it alone. That's where it gets tricky. Hey, Bo, get over here. Sit down. Stay. Yeah. Moment of truth. Hey, what did I just say? Sit down. Leave it. Leave it alone. Ha, ah, ah, ah. Ha. 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 Leave it. Guys, it's not a catfish. It's not a catfish. It is now my newest PB for sure. Holy shit. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that, guys. Cause this is by far the biggest striper that I've ever gotten on this river so far. You know, and I know that's not saying much for guys that are like the local legends and stuff like that, but Bo, stop. But holy crap, guys, that guy is huge. So big, so big, such a big fish. Oh my God, that is so cool. That is a big guy right there. That's a fatty. And look at that, beautiful, beautiful striped bass coming out of the Colorado River. Now just to give you guys, ooh, he fell just a tad bit. Just to give you guys like a size comparison, right? This is how big this guy is. Bo, cut it out. Right, so, but he's big and definitely a lot of fight. That was fun. Now, it's been out of the water for some time, but let's go ahead and get this river monster back to where he belongs. This is so sweet. This is so cool, guys. So let's go ahead and get him going. All right, guys, so that was so cool. My personal best, honestly, when it comes to stripers. That thing was massive. I wish I had myself my own little scale out here. I have one at home, I just didn't bring it out. But anyways, that guy was definitely big, put up a great fight. We let the water do the work, we let the drag do the work, and we were able to reel him in a cautious manner too, because of the fact that one, he's been fighting. Two, we didn't want our line to break. I think we're on like something like 8 to 12 pound test. And that fish definitely had the opportunity to put on a big fight if we would have fought against that drag. But anyways, guys, we landed him. It was awesome. It was so cool. Personal best. And I gotta say, I'm super excited, guys. So I'm gonna end the night with that one. We went ahead and let him go. We have another one that we're gonna go ahead and cook up. I'm gonna show you guys the fillet on that once we get that done. And then we're gonna have ourselves a beautiful rest of the evening. So anyways, guys, until next time, thanks for joining me once again. Take care.